Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Co-Racer League as we are finally in the qualifier session after waiting for that Roland. But anyways, we are here now. 18-minute qualifier session. This is round number 6 for the Canadian Grand Prix here. For Tier 4, my name is Jamie Morris, or formerly known as Indigo. And today, joined with me today is George Hargreaves.
Good evening.
Good evening, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm looking forward to this. I love doing comms, so always a welcome to get that message from you.
Yeah, no worries, mate. And if people wondering where KXI or Kaden is, he is spending time with girlfriend rather than spending time with me in the commentary box. So he won't be joining me tonight, but thankfully I've got George anyways to help me with the coverage. And George, you excited for this one?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good one. I think there's going to be 4 or 5 people here that are going to be contesting for those top spots. So I think, and also I think there's going to be the element of rain potentially. So that could be an interesting twist.
The element of rain did stir things up at the Chinese Grand Prix, where we were last time out, by the way, and it was a fantastic race in all categories as well in code itself, because the rain spiced things up, changed a lot of strategies. It also came and went, and it was dry for a long period, then it rained again. So in Tier 1 and Tier 4, it was a fantastic race to watch, and definitely stirred things up and twisted the story too, as it was Basil Fox who came out on top after. Well, it was a shame for Panda because the safety car, I think, came out at the wrong time for him, and he was still on the inters, I believe, whereas the others got their stops in to go on the soft compound tyres. And he finished in P2, I believe it was last time out. It wasn't too bad for him, but in the end, he could have won, but not to be. It's the wrong timing, of course. But here we go, then, on board with the Williams of Bunny then, as he makes his way down into the first corner then. So let's see how he handles this left-hander into fourth gear. Let's slow it down for the second part of it. Downshift in second, get back on the throttle immediately. Careful of traction here because it's very easy to lose the car. Valtteri Bottas did that back in 2019. Breaking the 50-meter board, you want to ride the curbs, you want to get as close to the wall as possible there, but Bunny's there. Suffered a bit of oversteer on the exit then, so not the one he wants. It's a 90.9 as he clips the grass there. Goes a bit deep into turn 6 and turn 7 then, so not the ideal lap time for Bunny's, but this is his first lap time. Obviously everybody's going to struggle there, just trying to get to the grip around here, the feel for the track as well. Turn 8 and turn 9 then, and you can see there turn 8 made a big mistake and couldn't even take turn 9, so definitely lost a lot of time unfortunately for the Williams driver of Buddies, but he still makes his way down into this hairpin we go, where we saw Robert Kubica crashed back in 2007, a heavy crash. He got replaced by Sebastian Vettel, who went on to score a point in the Indianapolis Grand Prix, and a year later Robert Kubica actually won this Grand Prix. He's one and only win, by the way, Robert Kubica, as his last appearance was in this Williams car, but he goes a bit too deep and that's a validation. I'd rather invalidate through there than hit the wall, George.
Yeah, hitting the wall there, you're gone every single time. I did a few qualifying sessions yesterday, the day before. The tiniest clip of that and your right wheel is out of there, so it's better to just invalidate. It's only the banker lap they can do to avoid it.
Look at the top speed Ross is carrying. That's 343 kilometers an hour, about 230 miles an hour on that straight, so he's definitely carrying less downforce on that car as he makes his way towards the line. It's 11.8, so that's a huge gap between the AlphaTauri and the Ferrari of Ross, who sets the initial pace then of Eisen with an 11.2. Then on the board is Jay Hardell, puts his Red Bull into second place then with 11.7. Has got more to come across the line. Invalidations are going to make or break people's race here, in qualifying as well, but in the actual race it's all about keeping it within the track limits. You saw it at Qatar, you saw the Chinese Grand Prix, even every single race you've got to be very careful with track limits, because obviously a late safety car could come out to destroy or create a huge opportunity for the race as well. So that's key around here, never mind hit the walls. It's all about keeping it within the track. You want to use all the track as you possibly can get away with without, you can tap the wall, but make sure it's a very light tap, because obviously you don't want to lose your front wing. But here we go, Basil Fox then sets 11.0, so he edging towards the 10s then as his teammate crossed the line to go P8 with a 12.9 then. So Basil Fox there, the man who won the Chinese Grand Prix and actually the championship lead as well, ahead of Harry Palmer. So Harry Palmer is not here tonight, so he can't do anything to he can't do anything to try and take some points away from Basil Fox. So it looks like Basil Fox then could gain a huge advantage on Harry Palmer here if all goes well for him then. So there's one race where Harry Palmer might not appear, he'll take a massive advantage of that, I hope, for him.
On board with Mazzles now. This looks like a pretty solid lap from what I've seen. Oh, he's hitting, never mind. Oh, that was a really good lap for an in-lap, Jesus. He looked like he was pushing so hard.
Yeah, he
Looks
unfortunately
like.
he validated his lap time, George.
Ah,
If
right.
you press square and you'll see the options for you, you could see the full track map, and if it's red, that means they've validated, mate. If you saw that.
Oh, alright, alright, cheers.
So that mate, no worries. You're new to comms, so getting used to everything. It's all lot part of the learning process. And we've only
Hmm.
got 10 drivers or 9 drivers setting the lap times, so not a lot of drivers out there. Well, there's a lot of validating as I'm going on board with them. So definitely in this first part of qualifying, they really are suffering. But one ball was Sophia, and then this man took a podium last time out at the Chinese Grand Prix. Could have took a podium in Qatar if he didn't spin in turn 15, and he also wiped Fandango out as well, who was also on course for a podium. But bearing in mind though, those two did pick up time penalties, so I'm not quite sure how much of a gap they pulled over the rest of them because it had to be a 3 second gap, otherwise they'd be off it. But anyways, they fell down. They fell down further than they would have wanted. But Sophia then comes toward. Oh, look at that! Then you can see really fights on the exit there with traction. He comes towards the line now. It's 11.1 then, so he's very close towards Basil Fox there, and it's only a tenth away for Sophia in the Aston Martin.
I think Safin will have a lot of time in that lap as well with the rear end loss going into the final chicane. I think he could easily find 3 or 4 tenths there in that final corner.
Indeed, made Chugs, however, has invalidated, so he's one of those 7 drivers who have validated their lap time. So let's see if he heads back up to the pits. I think so because he's running out of fuel. So those drivers who only fueled their car for 1 lap and they validate, they have to come straight back to the pits because some people like to run the fuel for like 2 or 3 laps just in case they validate their first lap, and they always have the option to go out and stay out there on the soft compound tyres. Depends where you validate as well, because if you validate that third sector, well, which is quite hard to do so. It's only turn 6 and turn 7 in that middle sector where you can validate, but obviously the final 2 corners, but you pass the pit lane anyway. So King Panda looks like he's quite low on the ERS, but let's see what he does. I mean, low on fuel, sorry. Let's see what he does in this middle sector. 42.4 for King Panda as we enter the hairpin now. Slow speed corner, getting back on the throttle immediately, straight line in the car, and getting back on power without losing traction. Polishman into P4 with 11.4 then for the Aston Martin driver. He was quite close to podium in Qatar. He did get on it initially, but post-race penalties, unfortunately, fell down the order. But here comes King Panda then, taking the final 2 corners with DRS enabled. A slight dip on the grass there, but hopefully won't affect him too much. Cross the line now, and it's a 10.9, George.
First driver to get into the tens there. I think we'll see a pole position of probably a 10.6, 10.7. I think the top 6 or 7 will probably get into the tens if they're lucky. I think King Panda will be up there by the end, most definitely.
Yeah, King Panda, he won the first Grand Prix, but hasn't had any more wins since then, so he'll be looking to bounce back and try and get some wins under his belt. Hello Maze, hello Culpa Paradox, hopefully both of you are doing alright and watching along with us, me and George, in the commentary box as well. Warrior Huntsman in P11 then with a 12.4, so he'll dearly love to get himself inside the 11s where the majority of drivers are, but we've still got we've still got a few yet to cross the line to start their flight lap. We've got Basil's down there in P18, so let's see what he's up to in that AlphaTauri as he negotiates his way around turn 6 and turn 7. Hello Big Ben, how are you doing? Hopefully you're doing alright. Hello Liam West, as Mazel's then comes towards the chicane. Can be very difficult as well on the exit, as we saw George Russell hit the wall there coming out of turn number 7 and 8, I believe that is. And now we're coming to the hairpin with a 42.7. There's a Alfa Romeo who's gone very deep out there, and we've got a Haas who parked his car at the apex. By the way, there's a Red Bull who just came out come out the corner, so I wonder if the Red Bull got hindered by the Haas there, because he was trying to get out of the way, but obviously it's a bit too late for that one. But we've got Mazel's then making his way. Oh look George, it's raining, mate.
It's rain, yeah, just about to say. That'll finish qualifying.
So early parts of qualifying then was very crucial. This qualifying session could be over than we expected then. So those drivers who haven't got a lap time down there are in a huge heap of trouble now, because they'll start down there if the race intensifies. And I wonder, can anybody improve out there? Who's on a lap time? Is Bazza? Yeah, he is. Coming toward... Oh, Bazza. He took too much curb at the penultimate corner. Unfortunately has invalidated. Let's see what lap time he would have set. It was a 10.6, mate. And it was 3 tenths off. It was the 3 tenths quicker as well than King Panda. So that lap time could have been pole, but just mucked it up in that penultimate corner and took all of his valiant hard work away. And unfortunately will stay in P2 for the time being then.
It's a real shame for him. That probably would have been the out-and-out pole with the rain. We've got Leon now coming into the final chicane. Can he improve? Can he get higher than that P9, which he definitely has the ability to? Oh, and he's spun. That's him full on gone. He's out the session. Just lost a rear on exit. I think that rain just making that track ever so slightly too greasy to get on the power enough to gain time. That's a shame for him.
I wonder if the rain then is affecting these soft compound tyres as it continues to pour away, and some drivers down there will not be happy this rain has came in. So those early lap times were very crucial to determine qualifying. We've got Chugs making his way towards the final 2 corners now, but he's invalidated before he's even started, and this will be the next lap then for Chugs. So the next lap time will not count for him either. That's a huge punishment there if you do that, because if you do this the next lap, it ruins everything, and you're going to go for another warm-up lap once again. So Ruben 4/10 down in that middle sector, and you can see some people retiring. Leon hit the wall there coming out to the Wall of Champions, and that's where Kevin Magnussen crashed as well back in 2019 in qualifying, I believe, and he completely wrecked his car for good measure as well. As Sophia dives into the pit lane, this qualifying session might be done and dusted already, George.
Yeah, I don't see anyone improving now. I think on the early stages of the rain, the soft compound tyres still can do better than the other drive tyres, but I think now the surface is going to be way too greasy to have enough grip to improve on their times that they've already got.
Yeah, expect a lot of drivers to be diving back in the pit lane and retiring, so qualifying will come to a close very shortly. The track is way too slippery now to go on those soft compound tyres. Maybe for the likes of Cammy, Fandango, Chugs and Flash might have a battle for P16. Fandango car because he's obviously retired from the qualifier session, but Cammy, Chugs and Verona Flash by the way in P19, so unfortunately for him, one has to the front, one has to the back, like in Brazil last year in qualifying, or the sprint qualifying, and it turns out to be the case again. Maybe it could be raining in the race, you never know, depends. Because I see Basil Fox on the Inters, so I'm assuming he might come out there to do a few laps on the Inters, so that might suggest that rain could be on its way during qualifying. We've still got Bunnies out there as well, so he believes he can improve, but let's see how he takes it down at turn number 1 and turn number 2. Then turn 2 will be critical because obviously oh yeah, he's definitely almost lost the car there, so it's way too slippery for him, and he's ruined his lap before he could get going into turn 3 and turn 4 now. A very difficult part of the track as well, as Bunnies there has invalidated the lap time then, so that's his lap time done and dusted. But the five for P16 could be on between Cammy, Chugs and Verona Flash, depends how high up they want to go, or if they're satisfied. Obviously not satisfied, but obviously you can't do anything about it, so might as well stay down there. But Verona Flash, a dismal qualifying then, unfortunately for him, once again, like at the Chinese Grand Prix, where he got disqualified out of the pit lane, started in last place, and once again then, will start down in last place. So Verona Flash has a lot of work to make up from P19. We know he's got the pace, we've seen it in these races, but once again qualifying has become another issue, and that's the problem around this track as well, because you try and push as hard as you can, you've got to use all the track and maximise it, but obviously you go a few inches outside the white lines, then it's a result of validation. But yeah, the risk you have to take in qualifying, and obviously with the rain coming in, you have to do it very quickly. You have to adjust very quickly to the track conditions and set the best lap times you can. But yeah, I think that's it there for qualifying. Nobody will improve it. So Bunnies is the only man out on the circuit, and that road is there. Sorry about the last minute absence, taking the PS for repairs. And if you're taking the PS for repairs, Chug, that Roland, you might as well play the game wherever you're going to take it and start the race there.
The Chugs has come onto an outlap on soft tyres, but I don't see him being able to set a competitive time with them. The track is way too slippery. It looks to me like it's intermediate conditions now. Maybe it's right on the edge of the crossover period, but it's got to be more inters and dries now. That's going to be alright for qualifying, apart from that mini battle for P16.
Yeah, drivers then, if they knew the rain was coming, could be under huge pressure there to get that 1 or 2 lap times they had in the bag and try and get pole position. And then Panda has done exactly that as well with a 10.9. So he's taken pole position once again, just like at the Qatar Grand Prix. I think he took pole position there. But hopefully he can have a good race, because in the last few races, well, I say last race, it was actually the wrong strategy, because he stayed out there on the inters. But obviously when you're in first place and you've got a lot to lose, you don't know, it's a lose-lose situation really, because you can find yourself tumbling down the order while others stay out there. And he's opted to stay out there. He only lost 1 position, but that 1 position was the win, and it got taken away on the last lap at turn number 7 when Bazza went around the outside. So those two will start 1-2 once again like they did in Austria, and hope we're on for a good race here around Canada.
Chugs was on a lap, but I think he invalidated as well, but he just has no grip and he's almost he could disqualify himself here from going backwards. No, he's all right. He's just got no grip coming out of the chicane at the end of sector 2. It's just, I don't see the point of risking it now on soft compound tyres, especially when you haven't set a time yet. You still have the potential of getting the P16. If I was driving now, I wouldn't go out on a soft compound lap. It's just not worth the risk. Even if they are slightly quicker, I would wait until right at the end of the session to do a lap. But obviously it's up to these drivers to do what they think's right.
Yeah, obviously Cammy, Chugs and Verona Flash have nothing to lose now, so it's just a fight for P16 to just get that an extra place or two up the field to make it less difficult. But we've got McLaren coming out there, Basil Fox then, so even if you do crash and lose a wheel, it won't affect you because you can't really gain anything now in these wet conditions. You just don't disqualify yourself, Bazza, because if you do, you're starting down to P19, mate, and obviously all that hard work into P2 will become undone. So we're just seeing the McLaren driver there of Basil Fox, as majority of the drivers then will be heading off in the pit lane to take a short break while watching Basil Fox continue for a lap time to give us more entertaining qualifying. Obviously, if every single driver retires in qualifying, we can progress onto the race. But Basil Fox there decided to stay out there and do a few laps on the inters. Maybe crucial information for him to just see how the inters are. Potential rain could be on the way for the race too, so we never know. And Basil might have that early idea of what the track conditions might be like during the race too. So maybe just going out there, maybe just for fun indeed, we never know, or just do a few laps extra on the inters then. But hopefully we see the drivers in the pit lane retire and we can progress towards the race, which Basil Fox does come in the pit lane.
Yeah, I think that's smart from Bazza to get a feel on the intermediates, just in case that there's rain in the race session. He'll just have that confidence that the other drivers won't have from the intermediate grip and what the lines are taken when they should be braking. I think it's a good idea from him just to get a feel on how it's like.
Indeed, mate, as majority of drivers are in the pit lane then, in fact all of them. We're just waiting for some of them just to retire from the session so we can progress towards the race and hopefully be a thriller. So 3 drivers left then yet to retire themselves. Ruben, Craigo and Ross, as DRS is disabled then, so the dry tyres will no longer be useful in this qualifying session, and the fire pits for P16 won't commence then, as those 3 have decided not to go out there and get that P16 spot. Only a few places higher, but you never know if that could be worth it during the race or not. Depends what things happen. But Verona Flash and Chugs have got a lot of work to do. I believe Chugs took a podium last time out in Qatar thanks to those race penalties as well from Polishman. But this time starts down in P18, then not the place where he wants to be either. I believe he was fighting for a win at the Chinese Grand Prix with Chugs, but I think he spent a lot of time stuck behind the Red Bull, and Basil Fox was able to take advantage and slip through on the Mercedes driver, and Chugs there lost a potential race win as well for good measure. And I think he finished on the podium last time out at the Chinese Grand Prix. No, he didn't. He finished in 5th, but I do remember him being up there in the podium, so I'm not quite sure if he had post-race penalties or not, but a lot of work to do down there for P18 then for Chugs. No, Fandango is very good in qualifying with the 1 lap pace, but this time finds himself at the back of the field then, so as you can see there are the results then. A King Panda on pole for the 2nd time in a row with Basil Fox right behind him and ready to take him on at turn number 1. We've got Eisen in P3 and Polishman, a great qualifying once again with Sophia, and both Aston and Martin's looking strong with Jay Hartnell in P6 there. We've got Marshall in P7, another good qualifying session for him. Chunder's in P8, Leon P9, Mazos runs off the top 10 with his teammate right behind him too, and Rory Huntsman will start in 12th with Ruben in P13, Bunnies in P14, and Craigo P15, Cammy 16th, Fandango 17th, Chugs and Verona Flash, and hopefully Dat Roland if he can join or not.
Yeah, it's a pretty competitive grid there. I think there'll be the top 5 just separated by 2/10. That's quite an impressive gap. It just shows how amazing CRL is. In every single tier, it's always a couple tenths at most to separate the top 5. It's just such a good league.
It is, mate, every single tier as well. These admins work so hard to find drivers within the same skill set of each other and try and get them in a competitive league where everybody has a chance to try and take a few podiums or win. Maybe not in tier 1 with a few people running away with it, but that's the aim of the game though, to try and get better. But in tier 4 always produces a lot of good racing as well. We saw that in Australia, China, Qatar, Austria as well, and hopefully we'll see that here at the Canadian Grand Prix, and we'll see if it rains towards the end or not. It looks a bit cloudy. We saw this at the Chinese Grand Prix where it was cloudy, then the rain started to come in on lap 5 I think it was, and that's when the whole trajectory of that race changed, and few people getting it wrong, and some staying out there one lap than the others. The safety car actually came out as well to save Polishman, because Polishman was still out there on the dry compound tyres when he should have pitted, but the safety car came out and actually saved a lot of time for him and stayed in P2, I believe it was. So safety cars will also pay in your favours, or definitely won't, but we'll see. There'll be a high chance for a safety car for sure around here. The walls are so close, it's very easy to hit the wall around here. Maybe got the curb and spin out, or lose traction, who knows, or just plain on the steer into the wall. But I think there's no formation lap, so we get straight into racing then, and the lights are about to go out very shortly. Underway then for the Canadian Grand Prix. Let's see who gets a better start. Lots of wheel spin on there, the hard compound tyres. Pandas in P1. Eisen will take on Bazza into turn 1. But there's front wing damage from one of the cars. I'm not quite sure who it was there, but Bazza Fox stays in P2 with Eisen in P3. Both Aston Martins remain where they are then with Jay Hartnell in P6. We're about to find out what's going to happen here, as we've got a few people there making contact already.
Safety car's out. Leon got hit in the rear, I think, and been spun out. I didn't see by who, but that's going to be a massive complication in his race, especially being on the hard tyres. He can't go onto a set of hards on the safety car. I have a feeling there's going to be rain at some point, so these hard tyres will be really important to have to try extend to the rain if there is rain. So that's going to be very difficult for Leon to claw back into this now.
Luckily there's a safety car, so he can dive in the pit lane then and put on a brand new set of mediums or whatever. And if there is rain on the way, Sophia might be in a great place in P5 there on the soft compound tyres then. And he needs a really good start as well. Well, he can't do so because the safety cars came out. But once the safety car goes in, it's very important for Sophia in there to try and get ahead of a few of these drivers, using the soft compound tyres to his advantage and try and pull a gap and extend as well before that rain may impact as well. We've got Eisen and King Panda on the mediums and hards there. So we've got Bazza Fox, who had lots of wheel spin on the start of the line and obviously on the hard compound tyres, so he almost lost a place towards Eisen but certainly gained it back. But Polishman has sped in the pit lane. I suspect, Sir George, he was one of the people that lost his end plate.
Yep, agreed. I can imagine it was just frustration, just trying to get into the pits and out as quick as possible. I've been there, just frustration that you've lost your front wing, you just want to get in and out, because like lap on damage, it's just the one thing every driver wants to avoid, because it's the most frustrating thing you can get. Obviously he's been bailed out slightly by the safety car, but he will still be down in P17. It looks like there's 3 drivers into the pits with Wuban, Leon and Polishman. They've changed onto the 2 of them onto the mediums and Wuban onto the soft tyres. So that's a shame for those 3, but hopefully they can crawl it back.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened to Polishman. I definitely saw some carbon fibre on the track, but I didn't know who it was, and it was Polishman evidently. I might watch it back though to see what happened, because I saw the off-board shot, but I'm not quite sure who was the driver that lost their end plate. But we'll go back to the start of the race then to see what happened. It all went very quick. My eyes are deceiving me. I keep thinking I've seen raindrops around here, but there isn't any raindrops. It's just my eyes, and keep thinking there's rain on the way or hitting the circuit. But it looks like there could be potential possibilities for rain. Now I'm going back to the start of the race, George, to see what happens. So Bazza Fox there gets squirrely on traction on the hard compound tyres. He had eyes up the inside, but Bazza had the outside line, which converted to the inside line, and he was unable to stay in P2 ahead of eyes in them. So I'm trying to watch the back, but I can't quite see what happened to Polishman, because obviously the 2 cars in the way to see that. I think he just plainly outbroke himself and hit the back of the Ferrari and lost his end plate. Just plain simply just outbroke himself there. So Polishman a bit too optimistic there, not just misjudging his breaking point, and has paid the consequences, but also a 5-second penalty then. So yeah, a double blow there for Polishman, but hopefully he'll recover down in P17. He showed some great races. He's a reserve driver, but he showed some great races so far this season, so hopefully he can continue that. But there's a lot of work on his hands here tonight.
That's a real shame for Polishman. I think he had really good pace. Like if you saw the top 5, like they were all close together. So I think he could have been in the runnings for a podium, but unfortunately for him, he's got the 5-second penalty and down in P17. But who knows, with what Canada's like, there could easily be another safety car, rain. There's so many factors to contribute to this race.
Exactly, mate, and also keeping it out of the walls as well. try not to pick up penalties, because this track is very easy to pick up penalties. You can just run out wide ever so easily, just outbraking yourself slightly and running off out there, especially where we're coming towards now. Maybe not turn 7, but turn 8 for sure. You've got to use all the curb on the exit, but some people just take that too much, a bit over the limit there, and get themselves that penalty. So that's also one to watch out for, track limits. And the most obvious place is the final 2 corners, and a lot of people might be tentative going into that corner, especially if it rains as well, because that is so difficult to get back on traction. Safety car is in this lap then. The position changes we can see. Leon and Polishman's lost 13 and 10 places themselves. The top 3 stay where they are, and others have moved up 1 or 2 or 4 places due to the contacts on the first lap. But Bunnies is game 4, Fandango's game 5, so P17 to P12 for Fandango, and the safety car is coming in then. So there's a new rule in the safety car situation. You can't go too slow. We saw this in Qatar, where it was introduced in Tier 1, as I think Nathan was the one that slowed them all down to an insufficient pace. But Panda's going to control this then, not go too slow or too fast. But here we are then, the final 2 corners, here we go. You can't overtake until the line, as Panda then rounds off lap 3 to go into lap 4. DRS will not be enabled on 2 laps then, so the overtakings will happen there. But I want to keep an eye on Sofian to see if he can make these overtakes on that soft compound tyre. He's got the medium runner of Aizen ahead of him then, so Aizen's going to have his mirrors full with the Aston Martin, keeping an eye on him. But it doesn't look to be any position changes so far in this safety car restart then. But I think Sofian's got the run on the Ferrari, who went a bit deep coming out of turn number 4, but he's too far back to make any sort of impression. Oh, that was so close there. Not another Aston Martin hit the back of the Ferrari.
Yeah, I was going to say that would have been a real shame for him, because those soft compound tyres are going to come alive over these next 3 or 4 laps. Same for Wuban in the Ferrari down P18. I think both of them would be wanting to gain at least 4 or 5 positions. Sofian should be wanting to get up to the lead of King Panda. Just it'll be difficult for him to get past Baza on those hard compound tyres, and Wuban will be really wanting to get past him, hoping up into the higher midfield to try. Oh, Wuban sent it down the inside of Polishman, but went too far down and couldn't get the traction on exit to get past him.
And also, the Sofian had a moment caught at the hairpin. He was very wide. He misjudged his braking zone at the hairpin as well, so they definitely cost him a lot of time, but gained it back immediately with those soft compound tyres. However, I think Jay Hartnell had a moment coming out of turn 7. I think he might have lost traction and he's lost a few places. However, Fandango is making big moves here. Up into P11 he goes, so he's gained about 6 places now, or 5 shall I say. No, it is 6. I got my mathematics wrong there, as the Williams gets scurrily coming out of turn number 2, so Fandango is making moves. However, Sofian is still putting pressure on Eisen. However, King Panda on his medium compound tyres doing his job and extending that gap while he has the better tyres at this stage of the race, so that's very crucial to get himself out of the 1 second range of DRS while he has the chance as well, because if you're not and DRS is enabled, it's super hard to pull a gap, especially with DRS and DRS trains, which is a high chance around here too. But you can see Sofian there still pressurising Aizen, might be off-putted for him as well. He's on the medium compound tyres, so be hoping to claw his way back towards that McLaren. However, Iron Marshall's under huge pressure from Chunders there, and as you can see coming out of the exit, Chunders might have a better exit with his traction as well, as Sofian then pulls the left hand side to overtake the Ferrari on the straight. I don't think Isa wants to fight this too hard, knowing Sofian's on the soft compound tyres. However, might see a 3 wide moment. Muzzles there will have a go up the inside if he can, especially on the Red Bull 2. Oh, he's been hit! And Chunders there has firmly closed the door and says goodnight to him, and he falls down the order, unfortunately. So I think Mazzles will be has the right to complain about that one. We've got Jay Hartnell going around the outside, now has the inside line into turn 2 we go. Let's see who gets a better exit. Different tyres of course on both cars, so let's see who gets a better exit. It's the Red Bull or Jay Hartnell who takes the racing line, and up into P7 he goes then, ahead of the half runner of Ross.
It's such an unforgiving track, it's so difficult to overtake. I think there was just a bit of desperation there as Mazzles tried to get past. I didn't see it, but there's always a lot of shady overtakes going into the Wall of Champions in the final chicane, so I didn't see what happened, but it could have been a sense of desperation from Mazzles. Did he get damage?
I'm not quite sure, mate. I think he might have just escaped damage free, but what happened was he got pinched on the curb and just there was no room inevitably, and he was gonna spin. I don't think it wasn't a dive bomb. He was fully alongside, but Chunders had the racing line and took it, and unfortunately sent Mazzles into a spin then. So Mazzles there falling down into P18 ahead of Warrior Huntsman, and let's see what he could do there. Shame for AlphaTauri there, because they're both running in the top 10, as Marshall has been overtaken by the Red Bull Chunders then, and continue their battle with Marshall cutting the corner on the penultimate exit then, so be careful for that. Not to do that more than twice, otherwise a penalty will be heading his way, and definitely don't want a penalty as well, especially with a high chance of a safety car as well. With Chugs making a move then up into P12, he goes on the Alfa Romeo Cami, and they're fighting there for P12 along with Polishman trying to make a recovery drive, and a brand new set of mediums then went down to P18 up to P14 as Bunny then picks himself up a 3-second time penalty, cuts in the corners there. This is very harsh on penalties. Yeah, it is, mate.
That's going to be a major factor here. I think there's going to be 7 laps in, that's going to kill his race, because I don't see him not getting another penalty to go, what, 28 laps without 3 warnings around this track is going to be very difficult for him. It's so important to keep that consistency and just get into a rhythm, because that will prevent the warnings coming in, just get hitting the same line every single lap. It's just so important. Hopefully, for his sake, he can keep the warnings to a minimum from here, because 6 seconds, if there's people around him without penalties, all 6 seconds is such a huge deficit to recover.
Sofian up into P10, then making P2, making the use of the stock compound tyres, and there's only one detection point, by the way, for 2 DRS zones, so going to be very tactical with your overtake as well with the 2 DRS zones. With 1 detection point, and here comes Fandango then with the straight line speed he has, using the ERS to his advantage, and he puts himself inside our top 10. However, I went on board with Polishman and Cami. They had a scrap down at turn number 7 or before it. I was a bit sceptical from those two, because Cami, they both went sideways on the straight, and looks like they were about to crash, but they saved the car and thankfully kept it intact. But Polishman eventually got ahead of Cami. Not quite sure if Cami there was moving under braking, but they definitely made contact, but there's no damage sustained to either of them, so hopefully they can keep it that way. But the gap now between Panda and Sofian is 3 seconds then. I wonder if Sofian can claw that gap down now and try and get in the DRS range of King Panda. Might be a big ask around here, closing a 3-second gap around here, but can he do it? He'll drag Bazza and Eisen along with him. Bazza, all you got to do is try and stay in that DRS range, just hang on the back of that Aston Martin, and see if he can make any minutes from there. But Chugs is up the inside of Craigo going into the hairpin now, but Craigo there all over the back of the Mercedes. I thought they were going to make contact, but thankfully Craigo wasn't alongside enough to get in to make contact with the Mercedes. But look at the Chugs then with the DRS, as he had it on the detection point before the hairpin, moves himself up into P11 then, so that's 2 overtakes there for Chugs in the space of 2 corners. But Polishman might come back with the extra ERS, but there's no DRS on board with the Aston Martin, because the detection point is before the line as the hairpin then, so that's a massive disadvantage for those drivers in front. So that may be tactical towards the end, with Bunnies now pressurising Ross there. It's like Mexico with the 2 DRS but only 1 detection point. Somebody spun, and that's Mazzles then.
That's a shame for him. Every team I joined, something seems to happen on the early races. When I was at Aston Martin, it was struggle for tier 4. Now Mazzles has had an absolutely horrible start to his race. Did he crashed at the start as well, didn't he? Or didn't he have to pit at the start?
No, that was
well. Obviously,
that's Polishman.
Who was it? Oh right. But it's a shame for him. He was running quite well there. I don't even remember, but it is a real shame for him again. But Verona flashed side by side with Cami. Cami looks for the switchback. That's a lovely switchback from Cami there. Gets a better traction on exit of the hairpin. And does he get DRS as well? No, he doesn't get DRS. Verona Flash will try to come back here with a 2 detection for the 2 DRS zones. He's going to try to get it done before the first chicane. He gets the job done, I think. Yeah, just gets the job done, but goes a bit deep. Cami might try to come back here, but I think the DRS will be too strong for him to be able to get the straight line speed to get back past him.
So Verona Flash there, jumping the corner at the last corner. We've seen plenty of people do that before as well. With the DRS open, carrying a lot of speed on the straight and just outbraking himself. So we'll definitely pick up a warning for that one. And Wuban looks like he's gone for a spin. There's a safety car, mate. And now, thanks to the safety car, I will go to the toilet.
Wuban on the exit of turn 2 just seems to have lost the car. That's his race going from bad to worse on those soft compound tyres. His tyres will have been dropping off, but that is not what he'll have wanted. He'll be back in last place in the race. But will we see any rain? That'll be a massive contribution. If there's rain coming in a couple of minutes' time, we might see some people drop into looking for intermediate tyres, because I've seen the strategy come up before where it's just starting to rain as the safety car comes out, as they stick on intermediate tyres. But It doesn't look like there's any rain anytime soon, but there's always that chance. Many 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers now with time penalties. Let's see how many they are. Penalties. Wuban, Kami, Chugs, Polishman, and Bunnies all with penalties. With Polishman with a 5-second, the rest for track limits. Most drivers now coming into the pits, I think, on to the medium compound tyres, with Aizen the only driver onto the hards, as well as Jay Hartnell. So the hard runners going to medium. Some of the top 3 all staying out: Fandango, Bunnies, and Ross. Fandango's running in an absolutely beautiful race so far. Gone from gained 14 positions, but the top 3, mainly because they haven't pitted, but Fandango had already made a lot of the way through the pack. So these guys will be praying for another safety car or rain or some sort of factor to help them with, as they haven't made their stop that they need to make yet. I think most of the field have stopped. Only Mazzles, Cami, Craigo, Fandango, Bunnies and Ross not stopped yet. Mazzles lost his wing, so you would expect him to... Oh, did he lose his wing? No, he did not lose his wing. Oh, I think I'm thinking of Wuban, who lost his wing. Mazzles just went for a spin, but yeah, the safety car out here will probably last for 2 to 3 laps, just bunch up the field together. Makes it a lot more interesting for us commentators. There'll be a lot more battling going on with everyone so close together, but the DRS won't be enabled from the 2 laps after this, after the safety car ends. But we've seen quite a mixed up order compared to the championship here. Just load up the championship, compare it to the current running. Obviously with Palmer not here today, Bazo will want to extend his lead at the top of the championship. He's doing an alright job of it so far. Is in P9, will be effective P4 here, as he's already made the pit stop. We've got King Panda in P3, who's effective P1 at the moment, and Sofian effective P3. That's good for him. He'll be wanting to shorten the 23-point gap to the Haas of King Panda in P3. Ross will be wanting to try. Ross in the lead of the race will wanting to try improve his position. He's currently, can't see him, 12th in the championship with 14 points. He'll want to do everything he can to extend his points and help for the World Constructors Championship for AlphaTauri. I'll see the constructors. AlphaTauri currently in P9, 252 points. Haas currently first at the moment, which King Panda has played a very good part for his team so far, his constructor, getting them up into P1 with a 24-point gap between Ferrari and P2, but it's not a great race for Ferrari so far, with Aizen in P11 and Wuban in P19. But the safety car will probably be in this lap because the whole field is bunched up. I'll find out at the end of yep, safety car in this lap, so Ross will control the pace in Sector 3, but with the new rule, can't go too slow or too fast, obviously, because he'll get the delta before the safety car has gone into the pits, but don't.
I am back, by the way.
Alright.
Yeah, so the safety car, you've got to let it peel into the pit lane, and that's when you can decide when to go then. So like you said, there's mixture of strategies going on. The guys further down the field on the hard compound tyres are expected to stay out to try and take track position there. So spice things up now with different strategies in play. With Polishman back into P5. Ross has gone then, so let's see how he gets the restart sorted then as we head on to lap 13 to end lap 12. So Panda on a brand new set of mediums then has to get past those 3. He can't afford to be held up there because his closest competitor, Sofian, on a brand new set of medium compound tyres will be hunting him down. So I think Mazzle's gone for another spin, and that's his race pretty much summed up then. So unfortunately for Mazzle's there, ever since that contact with oh, look at this, we've got battles then. We've got 2 McLaren swapping positions as you expect. We've got Aizen versus the Alfa Romeo, make contact there, but thankfully they kept it in control there with no damage. Cammy there getting squirrely on the hard compound tyres there, but he's trying to make his way now back. But we've got Fandango overtaking Bunnies, then he's moved himself up into P2. Panda in the distance, really taking advantage on these guys, but he can't afford to make contact there on the brand new set of mediums against all Bunnies. He's going to bide his time, not too much by the way, but just try and overtake very cleanly and not make contact, because we've seen this scenario before when newer guys well, newer tyres versus older tyres is bound for contact because you carry a different speed in corners. However, Sofia's overtaking Chugs into the hairpin. We've got a virtual safety car, so these safety cars and virtuals never end, George.
Yeah, they'll be coming up to the limit for 50% races, and we're only on lap 13. That could play its part as well. I don't know why there is a VSC. I don't see anyone making contact or stopped. I don't see anything. Oh, full car safety car's out. It's another safety car. I'm not sure why, being completely honest.
Sometimes it does that when it switches to an actual safety car. So some people have dived into the pit lane, but for those people who wanted to go in the pit lane, I think some of them were past the pit lane already. So if those guys, if they wanted to, of course, but they can't now. Polishman switched to a hards then. So I'm not quite sure if he's taken two. Yes, he has, because he went on the mediums after that first lap contact there. So he's on the hard compound tyres, looking to go to the end on that set then, as he already used it before, but it was only one lap as well, so it won't affect him too much, as he only did the one lap and went to the pits to go to the mediums, stayed out of the mediums, then gone back on his original tyres where he started on. So 2 sets being used. He could go to the end if he wants to, and if they can too. So Panda hasn't really made any moves. He couldn't really do so, being stuck behind the 3. Sofian's up into P5 then. So now Sofian has cleared those guys in the way. I think Krager was one of them, or Cami was one of them. I'm not quite sure. And Verona Flash. Sorry about that. I was just looking at a message, but I'm just having a look at the situation then. So Polishman's dived in, he's released his teammate to chase after King Panda. They both had the same tyres as well, so Sofian, who starts the softs, has now gone to the mediums, essentially on the same strategy as Bazza Fox and King Panda then. So this could be very interesting. These 3 at a brand new set of mediums are fighting with the old guys here on the older tyres. So it's going to be quite intense, these battles, because Panda's got to attack and potentially defend as well if he gets stuck behind those 3 who are in a battle of their own. But Fandango has dived into the pit lane then, so that's a late call. He couldn't do it on the last lap because he went past the pit lane when the safety car was announced. So let's see. I think it could be a hard to medium strategy like it usually is, and he goes on a brand new set of mediums, but unfortunately will rejoin potentially down in last place due to the whole field punched ups then. So he's lost a lot of track position and he's opted to go on the medium compound tyres then. So Ross leads this race then, and he's ahead of Bunnies for the time being, who has a 3-second tyre penalty, and they stayed out there on their original tyres then with the guys behind on the brand new set. So let's see how it all pans out from there.
I think Ross will be hoping that Bunnies holds up King Panda for as long as possible so he doesn't waste any time battling with King Panda, but I don't see either driver putting up any fight against those brand new mediums. The delta between the 2 tyres will be it'll be way too much to have any chance of defending that, so I don't think either of those 2 will put up much of a fight. I think if King Panda can get the 2 front runners on the hard tyres as quickly as possible, that'll be massive for him, because he'll be able to build up a gap on Sofian as quickly as possible.
Yeah, indeed, mate. And yeah, let's see if those 2 decide to fight it out against the other guys. I think Krager might do his teammate a favour by holding up the guys behind him to help his teammate get away, like he did in Australia as well. Krager put up a great defence of guys on brand new tyres, and in the result of that, Basil was able to pull away. So safety car is in this lap then for the second time in this race. 20 laps to go in this race as well. I'm not quite sure if a possibility of rain might be on the way as well, with the judging by the weather conditions by being cloudy, but we'll see then what happens at this part of the race then, as the safety car will come in. As you expect, safety cars will be around here for sure. But now we're coming to the final 2 corners then, with Ross leading the moment away once again then. Bunnies was overtaken by Fandango, but I dare say his challenge behind will be much harder now as Eisen overtakes Krager. I did see McLaren, by the way, go for the track at the final corner, but I think Eisen has to let him go because he overtaken him under yellow flags, and now Eisen is under pressure now from the Red Bull as he defends for the time being then. So Eisen wanted to go for it, but he couldn't do so because obviously those yellow flags were still in play. Bunny is right to the back there of Ross, with King Panda watching in interest to try and take advantage of those 2 as quickly as he can, dispatch them, get rid of them, and try and pull away from Sophia, who goes a bit deep, by the way, at turn 6 and turn 7. Might give Bazza a fighting chance, but obviously stays where he is for the time being then, with Panda there looking to overtake Bunnies. Where is the best opportunity? Down the straight at the hairpin? Who knows? But he's got to do it very quickly. Otherwise, he has Sofian and Bazza right to the back of it. He can't afford to lose the track position he's gained throughout this whole race. As we head now into the hairpin once we go. Any moves being made down here? I wonder, is anybody close enough? Looks like King Panda might get a decent exit on the Williams. Then he goes side by side with the Williams. He loses traction there at the exit of turn number 10 then. So he releases Panda, he releases Sofian, and Bazza, he wants to get past that Williams now as quickly as he can so he doesn't lose the DRS between those two there, fighting for the net lead of this race. So we head on to lap 17 of this Grand Prix then, with Panda up into P2 and Sofian in P3. And look at that, Bazza has overtaken Bunnies then. He moves himself up into P3 he goes, or does he? Now he does, up into P4 I meant, but there's a few position changes further on in the field there. Oh, there's contact, Cammy goes sideways, and he cuts turn number 1, and he gets attacked by the Aston Martin to add to more wounds, and there's yellow flags there, obviously to slow things down. No overtaking with yellow flags of course, but Sofian there rides the back of Ross because King Panda took the lead. Now Sofian has to get past him immediately. He can't afford to be stuck there any more than he would have wanted, but now Sofian gets a decent run coming out of turn number 7, and he can't really, it goes deep on the brakes. You have to really, can't go side by side through this part of the track, otherwise contact will be made, and also going off the track will be also likely. But there's a 1.6 second gap now between Sofian and King Panda. Bazza will fancy a chance, no he doesn't, he stays behind. Bunnies there goes a bit deep. Craigo has overtaken Eisen as he defends once again from the Ferrari driver, so plenty of action going on here, with Bazza finally overtaking Ross up into P3, and now the battle is on between the top 3.
There's a close battle here between 8th, 7th and 6th, and Trunders are going 3 wide into the chicane. This is going to... Yeah, Trunders smartly backs out there. He knew that there was going to be a problem if they went 3 wide through there. Not all of them were going to make that out alive. But they're now, Trunders and Craigo side by side going into turn 1. Looks like Trunders got the inside line. Oh, there's contact. Hits a right... Craigo hits Trunders' right end plate. And the battle behind the... Everyone's just so close from P13 to P8. It's just massive battle going on between everyone.
Yeah, look at that multi-car battle. We've got a Mercedes versus the Red Bull there. Turn 1 and turn 2. We had a few separate groups having a fight there, going side by side. Looks like they got out unscathed for the time being then. And looks like Chugs is now ahead of Jay Hart. And Warrior Huntsman is defended. He goes sideways and he makes contact with the Alpine there. Seen that. Oh! And you can see Warrior Huntsman there got finished off. And he hits the wall out of turn number 8 then after making contact, I think, with the Mercedes driver, and unfortunately has spun and lost his wing, but there's no safety car there to try and help him, so he'll have to do it on his own then. But Panda there, crucially, is outside the 1 second range of DRS as Trunders gets a better exit. Then Craigo, they go side by side now, but Craigo can't do anything about it with the older hard compound tyres. He's obliterated his DRS to try and level pegging with the Red Bull, but look at the straight line speed from Marshall. DRS is unable. Marshall will take 2 for 1 if he can, but backs out of that one, and with the Red Bull of Jay Hart now goes down the inside, goes a bit deep there. Chugs come back underneath him with the help of DRS. Yes he does. Then it's going to be a drag race all the way down into turn number 1 we go. Craigo derating, defenseless on the straight with no DRS as he's the first one out of the detection point, and therefore doesn't have any protection to keep himself ahead of these guys. But Jay Hart now is ahead of the Mercedes for the time being with the Aston Martin in the background there. Chugs going around the outside. Can he make this stick? Yes he can. What a great move there for Chugs around the outside too on that corner.
That's a lovely move from Chugs to get his Mercedes up into the top 10 now. It's so important to get past in these areas of the track where in the majority of the track it is difficult to overtake, so when you get the chance you do have to go for it, and that is a lovely excuse from Chugs as he goes again but decides to back out on Craigo. The contact though, he's hit him, he's rear-ended him.
Oh, big crash! Oh, there's a multi-car crash there, and a safety car. Oh, safety cars came out once again as Fandango gets a 5 second time penalty. Severe collision with Polish man, and that wasn't going to end well, but Craigo decided to stick it out there on all the tyres, and ultimately a lot of drivers behind paid the consequences by losing the front wing. I am Marshall picks up a 3 second drive-through penalty for spinning the safety car. Wow.
I know all too well how that feels from last season. Did that twice.
USA.
So I know what he's thinking right now. But that all came from the Chugs. I think Chugs rear-ended Craigo. I don't know if that was because he outbroke himself or Craigo's just had his old tyres that were just not performing up to the standard that it should have been. Mercedes double stack. That's a shame for Leon. He'll lose quite a bit of time. He's just in for a tyre change though, so it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, so Eisen then takes the lead this race, Marshall up into P2 then. So, the guys, let's see what's happened in this race then. So we've got a few pitting once more. King Panda on a brand new set of hards. So there's hard to go towards the end of that Grand Prix because he can't use the mediums. Maybe only has one set at his disposal. If he had two, he might have gone for it, but yeah, he's just decided not to, unless he's already done medium in this race and he can't go on another set of softs or mediums because one soft car goes to the end and medium, well, he's already used that tyre, so, and also doesn't have any more left if he did use that set of mediums earlier on as well. So Panda there had to go on the hard compound tyres, and now he's surrounded by a guy on mediums as well. So that's going to spice things up as Baza actually jumped Panda despite being first. In fact, Panda has lost a few places then. He's down in P7. Sofian, Baza and Bunnies somehow managed to jump in the pit lane then, and the Haas pit lane is all the way at the end, I believe, so I'm not quite, or is it first, because they might do reverse, if that makes sense. I think some garages do reverse, like from last to first, like Red Bull might be at the pit lane. I do remember that. I'm not quite sure what track it is, maybe this one. I need to pay more attention when these guys head off as the pit lane then, but yeah, Panda unfortunately has lost track position crucially as well towards Bunnies. Has gained a lot of time as well in P6, not pitting on the first safety car, now he's gone for a pit stop, and he joins in P6 then, essentially on the same strategy with the guys around him then, so he hasn't lost any track position at all, and he's actually gained a few as well for good measure then. So Bunny's looking in a great position in P6 then, and this could be very intense now. The lead, well, the net lead has switched once again, as King Panda is no longer the race leader, and he must have got hold up in the pits for sure.
It's been an absolute topsy-turvy race. It's so exciting for us to commentate. I think there's going to be just some more twist to this tale. Chug's gained 10 positions. It's whether he gets a penalty for that incident, it's whether he broke too late or it was just the loss of traction. Bunny's gained 8 positions. Trunder's gained 5, Marshall gained 5, and the rest 3 or 4 with Polish man. Real shame for him down in P15 now, lost 11 positions. Huntsman last now, losing 7, and King Panda losing 6 after whatever happened in the pit lane. Maybe he had a wing change.
Yeah, that could be a possibility as well. So if that is the case for King Panda, I didn't see him pick up any front wing damage, but if that's the case, then it explains why he's down in P7. So unfortunately he's lost the lead now, and guys ahead of him, there's 3 drivers on the same tyres, so there's no advantage for him. But now it's Sofian's turn to get past the guys on older tyres, and Panda made it stick, but what about Sofian then in P4? Starts to the soft compound tyres, which I thought wasn't a great idea until that safety car came out, and I thought rain was on its way too. So hello Glowstick, hope you're doing well, and my co-commentator is George Hargreaves.
Luckily for him.
As Glowstick was my commentator last season for Tier 3 as it was, and he was watching alongside me to witness you losing races after picking up penalties and making the wrong strategy calls.
Safety car is in this lap, so why are we going to see any more drama, any more contact? We've seen more than enough so far, but we wouldn't be complaining to see more drama, would we ever?
Oh, look at this then. Ronald Flash picks up a 3-second time penalty. I think Baza was right at the back of Sofian, but had to back out of it, of course. But Sofian goes a bit deep into turn 2, which influences Baza, but Baza lost traction, sliding out the corner there, but thankfully did not spin, which would cost him hugely there for his race, but saved the car and Panda there will be under huge disadvantage now because of that safety car, because of the hard compound tyres as well, surrounded by guys on the mediums, will be much quicker at this stage as well, so he's put himself in a disadvantage there. But I think he was learning from last race by not pitting the safety car, so that could also impact his mind as well, been on his thoughts. But you see some contact down there.
Spun, lost his wing.
Oh, that's a shame.
So many mistakes going on.
We've got Sofian up the inside into turn number 10 now. He's ahead of Chunders. That's one medium runner, old medium runner dispatched. And we've got Baza coming alongside now ahead of the Red Bull then. So Baza just wants to follow this Sofian to try and stick with him for DRS, fighting for the lead later on this race. We've got Marshall right to the back of Aizen, who's being pressured by Sofian. Sofian's going to make a risky move. Can't afford to take too many risks now, especially on guys on all the tyres. Otherwise, you lose a lot of time with Baza there looking at the rear. So Sofian's going to plan this with caution as well. Up the inside now, goes deep on the brakes against the Alfa Romeo, headed into turn number 2 now. He has the outside line, should have better traction on the Alfa Romeo too, which he does, and moves himself up into P2 with Bunnies there putting Baza under pressure, but Baza stays in P4 for the time being then. So Baza had to defend and attack with Warrior Huntsman retiring in the pit lane then. So that's his race done and dusted there, but Sofia's next challenge is Urza for the lead.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me or a Huntsman, but it is the first DNF to say all the safety cars. It's quite impressive for us to only have lost one car so far and it wasn't even to terminal damage. Oh, and Sofia's hit Hazen!
I just saw that in the
Rear-ended him,
foreground.
outbroke himself.
Yeah, I just saw that in the foreground. We've got Marshall coming up the inside now. I'm not quite sure. I think Sofia might be to blame there because you can be very careful with guys on different tyres. You've got to adapt to their speed because they're on older tyres. They don't have the grip as you do. And Sofia in there might take a bit of punishment towards later on in this race then. So that's a shame there. And we've got Bunnies there making it up. Bunnies has had a very good race here as well in P3 now. And Bazza might have a chance. But unfortunately for Bunny, he's got penalties as Marshall dives into pit lane then. So it's all going down here.
It's so much drama going on. Bunnies has gained 11 positions. That's a brilliant drive from him. Does he have to still pit or is he done now for pits?
I can't
No,
check.
he's had one stop. What's his tyres on?
Oh, there's a spinner.
Oh.
I think that's Panda who's gone for a spin.
Yeah, it is. Lost his front wing.
Oh, so much drama, so much controversy in this race as well. When will it ever end? There's never ending. We've barely had any racing action here, and it's all been with safety cars as well. Drivers there taking advantage of others and unfortunately go for a spin. Jay Hardall's retired on track. This could be another safety car. Hopefully not. I want to get to racing now. I've had enough of safety cars. We have barely seen any racing in this race. Warren Huntsman has left the session. No safety car will be deployed for the time being then. So let's see. The scenario is King Panda is out of the equation. That must be a shame for him. He's had bad luck in recent races. Had Panda. He can't sustain anymore as well. And gone downhill for him unfortunately. Maslows is up there in P8 after making contact down at turn number 13 and 14 where he spun out, but he's back up there in P8 now, and having the right strategy, having the right tyres at the right time as well could pay dividends for your race later on as well, because all these safety cars coming out. So all these guys that have spun early in the race or made contacts, they could still find themselves up there due to the massive amount of safety cars we're having. Leon is up into P5 ahead of Chunders as well, with Maslow's up into P7 ahead of Ruben. Looks like he's struggling coming out of turn number 2 with Krager all over the back of him, as Krager pitted as well to get rid of those hard compound tyres. Took advantage. The man that caused the safety car actually benefited, and he's up into P9 now ahead of the Aston Martin Polish, who's under pressure from Fandango as well, who also pitted during that safety car to go on the medium compound tyres. But Krager gets a decent exit then coming out of turn number 7. He opened his DRS and closed it. I'm not quite sure why he's done that, but I'm not quite sure if he had DRS or not. As Ruben there goes, oh, they both make contact again in the same corner. He's spun in the same corner. I think that's optimistic there from Ruben. He should have done that. I think that was Krager's line, and he's just plainly took him out.
More drama. I think the battle for a podium is going to be the exciting one here with both P3 and P4 with type penalties. Leon is hunting down, gained 3 or 4 tenths of a lap since overtaking Trunders. I think this could be a really interesting battle to see if anyone can compete with the likes of Bunnies and Ross, with them all 3 of those guys being on equal tyres. It's just all down to pure pace now and consistency for the next 9 laps.
I'll be hoping Panda was in this equation too, because that'd be a mega fight, especially for the championship's sake. But Panda there will not be able to gain any points, unfortunately, like for the 3rd time in a row as well. Panda just really suffering. Qatar, Chinese Grand Prix, Polish man pace up at 3 seconds tyre penalty, and now this Grand Prix as well for good measures. Bazza Fox gets all out of shape coming out of turn number 7. Then he's all over the back of Sophia, and the Frenchman there hunts him down for P1. Bazza Fox wants that 2nd victory in a row. His good run this season of podiums, he has put himself into P1 of the championship, and now with that race win, his 1st race win of the season last race as well, has extended his gap over Harry Palmer, as Harry Palmer there is being replaced by Bunnies after not making appearance because he's too scared to track the track of Canada. This is a relentless track, but I wouldn't want to race here if I was him either. But Sophia and there will be under huge pressure from Bazza Fox and Bunnies, and this will be a fight all the way to the end with guys trading DRS. It's all about strategy towards the end of this race now between those 3. And Bunnies has been in the worst position of all of them because he's stuck in that DRS train and can't do anything about it. As Leon there downshifts too early and revs the car out, and he's putting pressure there on Mazel's able to pull away. But despite Leon having the DRS, good amount of ERS management as well from Ross in P4, is getting a lot of positions as well. And both AlphaTauris then in the top 6 as they were before the Grand Prix. As you can see there, Chunder's under massive pressure from Cami. But the top 3 then will continue to have their battle but it's just a case of which one of them gets out on top.
Leon has some really impressive pace. He gained the second on Ross on the lap before. It's a shame he just revved up on that final chicane at the World Champions. He's looking for a move here. He's deploying the ERS. I don't think he's going to be close enough, but he does. There's minor contact. Leon cuts the corner and gets a 3-second time penalty. That writes off any chance of him getting a podium now, as he could have hunted down the guys slightly ahead of him for the podium. Maybe he can get it overturned if he had a dodgy penalty, but I don't see that happening because it's quite a rare occurrence that. But he'll have the DRS here. Can he turns the overtake on with the gap at 3/10? You will expect him to get him done, but I would wait until the second straight. But he turns off the DRS and will wait till after the chicane. He has to focus on getting a good exit here. The exit's alright. I think Ross got a better exit, but he doesn't use any of his ERS. He only has 13% left, but I don't think he'll be close enough to go for a move. He tries to send it down the inside, but realises he's too far back and has to cut the corner slightly. Ross loses the rear on exit, and Leon's looking for a move down into turn 3. With the marble, he sends it down the inside, and Ross will have to back out. Mazzles is now back up into P6, fighting with his teammate. Can he get a move done? Ross does have a lot more ERS than the two cars around him, but he has a bad exit here, and Mazzles will have the DRS to try to get past him, but both cars will have DRS. I think that'll sort of end up in nothing, but he does get the better exit, but no, he's not going to be able to send a move, especially on his teammate there.
Yeah, both of them were former teammates back in Alpine and now separate ways, one in Mercedes and one in the AlphaTauri, as Mazzles then puts pressure on his teammate for P5, both having penalties. I'm about to say Fandango didn't have any penalties, but he just picked it up, and I was going to say Mazzles lost traction as well, coming out of turn number 10, and he loses 2 places for 1 there, and he's been overtaken by the Aston Martin, as that's cost him dearly. The battle for the top 2, it looks like Bassa has lost his own plate. I think he's just hit the back of the Aston Martin. I just saw it going on board. I didn't see if he, obviously made contact, but I didn't see it for the full extent. Mazzles has retired. Where is that? Is that the? Yeah, it's the final 2 corners. Could this be another safety car? I wonder. Hopefully not again.
No safety car. That's such a shame for Mazzles. He just got his way back up, and that's his race over. Unfortunately, just had that bad exit. I think he was. Again, it could be an element of frustration, trying to get on the throttle too early and just losing the rear, and trying to overcorrect and just ending up in the wall. That's such a shame for him. On those medium tyres, was very competitive.
Yeah, Sofian's been in the wars there against people. Look, Bunnies! Oh, he almost lost it coming out of turn number 8 and 9. But I say, Bunnies is in a really great position. He's got P2 in the bag, because I dare say Bazza might have to pit. Maybe not, because there's only 6 laps to go. There's no point pitting now. But Bazza there is trying to fight with Bunnies, taking advantage of losing the car at turn number 8 and 9. But Bunnies there can't afford to make contact now, especially with the guy behind having front wind damage. He should pull away, but he can't do so because the straight line speed on that McLaren is much better now with the lack of downforce, as Bouben has retired from this session, and Bazza is in the pit lane. Also picks up a 5-second time penalty to add to his woes and misery now in this race. We've got Ross all over the back with a multi-car battle there. I think Ross outbroke himself in that final corner. There's a lot to watch in this race. I don't know who to go on board with, because there's any way you turn, things just happen like that. Sofian, by the way, hasn't picked up a penalty. He's one of the few drivers in this race haven't picked up penalties as well, so he's in a really great position. But I dare say post-race penalties might come in his way. Depends what happened in the final 2 corners. Did Bazza just plainly and simply outbroke himself? But with the situation down at turn number 8, where he spun Azen out, I dare say that might go towards the Stewarts as well. So I think Sofian has to pull out a safety margin there to ensure that he stays ahead if he does have a penalty. Polishman almost lost it on traction as well. So P2 down to what? Well, P2 downwards, except Chunders, have got penalties. King Panda hasn't got penalties, but he's all the way down in 13th place anyway, and he's lost a lot of time. As Bazza down a brand new set of soft compound tyres then. So crucially, trying to take points away from Harry Palmer in the championship. He can't afford to give up yet. He's still got a few points to gain now, being on the brand new set of soft compound tyres. So how many positions can Bazza make on this brand new set of softs? Going alongside Chunders then, the first man going into the hairpin. Let's see how it all unfolds. Going around the outside. Does he get DRS? The texture point was there. I think it was anyways. Yes, he does get DRS then. So up into P9 he goes. Next target is 9 seconds away. So I dare say that's a big stretch.
I was looking at the penalties now, and second and third both have a lot of penalties. Bunnies has 11 seconds, and Leon's just got another 3-second time penalty. He's up to 6 seconds. Polish man could potentially still get a P2 here, being the being on the 3 second with Ross behind him on 6 seconds, so there's quite a chance here for someone who doesn't finish on the podium on track to end up with a podium in their hands. But everyone down to P9 apart from Sofian has penalties, but some being 3, some being 5, 6 and even 11 in Bunny's case.
If a late safety car come out now, Chunders is in a really great position to take some positions away. But that if is a safety car comes out, because the gap between here. Oh, somebody spun! Leon's crashed! That jinx it. Is going to be another safety car.
He's done it again.
Oh, there's yellow flags, but there's no safety car for the time being. Leon has crashed, coming out of turn number 8. You said again. Did he do it before? I'm not quite sure.
He does it every week.
Oh, fair enough.
I help him out with like setups and stuff and like practice, and it's so frustrating. But it's such a shame for him because he was running in potentially P2 there with Bunny's being 11 seconds of penalties, but that puts Polish Man in the driving seat for P2 now. Ross with potential podium if he can gain enough time on Bunny's with his 11 seconds of penalty, and Fandango with the potential to get a podium as well down in P5. But the gaps will. Trying to look, he's good. The gap to Bunny's is less than, I think it's 6 or 7 seconds, so he does have a chance to get a podium. But it's all on. It'll probably be P4 because Polish Man only having 3 seconds as well.
Yeah, it's crucial now that Polish Man doesn't pick up another penalty because he's in a podium like he was in Qatar, but post-race penalties took it away then, so he can't afford one more mistake into any corners, otherwise that's a penalty for him. So he's going to take it nice and clean. I think he knows that himself. He knows Ross has got a 6-second penalty. He knows Fandango is 2.6, so we'll be threatening him from here on in, unless he gets very close, of course, and he's only got 3 seconds to his name. So Polish Man level pegging there with Fandango and Chugs on penalties, so it's very crucial now for him not to pick up another one, otherwise that's his chance of a podium gone twice after being on the podium in Qatar. But both Aston Martins P1 and P3, so this is a great chunk of points to take away as well, with Sofian on course to winning this race as well. That's if he doesn't pick up, well, if he picks up a penalty, no matter how many he gets, he'll still finish in P1 because Bunny's has got 11 seconds. I'm not quite sure where Bunny's picked it all up because I didn't see his name flash up like once in this race, unless I didn't see it, of course. But it's a shame there for Bunny, driving a great race, good strategy course as well, and up into P2 he is right now, but he'll fall very well. I can't work out the maths here. 5.5, probably fall down into P7 behind Verona Flash, and so he's almost in the DRS range of Sofian then. So despite losing all that time, the gap was like 2.5 seconds a few laps ago. So Bunny has got some great race pace. It's just the consistency he needs, and evidently he's got the pace to try and claw his way back to Sofian because he's almost in DRS range now. So if he could try and get past Sofian, find a bit more time, not lose too many positions, and let's see where his race ends up then. And the safety cars are over. It's alright, I finished now.
Bunny's could quite easily still get P2 if his race pace continues over the next 2 laps. He needs to pull out an 8 second gap? Yeah, an 8 second gap. The gap's probably currently 5.6. If he keeps pulling out what he is at the moment, he could still quite easily secure his P2. He could have gone for the win if he could get into the DRS zone, but there's no way unless Sofian crashes and someone else behind them crashes. There's no way he's going to win this race.
So Sofian done a great job in this race. There's been a few accidents from himself, but nevertheless, whatever happens to that safety car with Panda on the second safety car, I don't know if he changed his wing or not. I still haven't looked at the pit lane to see which one of the first teams it is. Maybe he got to held up in the pit lane, I'm not quite sure. But you can see there, Sofian and Bunny lost traction coming out of turn 7 there. They both went sideways coming out of the corner. Sofian, Bunny does have DRS as Panda picks up his first penalty, by the way. So that's Panda's first penalty in this race. But what a shame there for Panda. He tumbled down to 12th for the safety car restart. Obviously, with everything that's going on in this race, I couldn't quite keep up. And I did notice that Panda dropped into 12th. So whatever happened to him, he must have fallen down. He must have made contact with somebody or spun. But he's in P12 right now as well. Bazza has overtaken Verona Flash. He's up into P7 then. He's right behind a few cars as well on older tyres than him. So there's still points there for the taking for Bazza. Next one is Chug. Should be quite easy with the DRS. And he gets that DRS right now. I should be taking candy from a baby, as Martin Bunder will put it, quite frankly. And let's see how easy it is. He's still side by side with the Mercedes, by the way. But ultimately, Chugs has to give that one up. And up into P6 goes Bazza then. Probably with the fastest lap too for the consolation point. Next target is Fandango, who is about over a second ahead as Verona Flash is now taking on the Mercedes. Also, he had DRS at the back. He goes deep, by the way, Verona Flash. We lost the place. But however, the battle for the lead then. Bunnies has gained a lot of time. This is the last lap. This would be very intense if only Bunny didn't have a penalty, because he would have gone down to the wire at the final 2 corners. Sofian has got nothing to lose here. Well, he can't afford to take many risks because he's got a lot to lose, so there's no point scrapping out with Bunnies just in case they both make contact. He is a racer, he'll go for it of course, but essentially can't afford to fight too hard. Might as well let him go into the final 2 corners because he knows he's going to win this race anyway. So Bunny's there. He won't care whatsoever. He'll take the lead of the race, but he gets all squirrely coming out of turn number 10 as Marshall picks up a 3-second tablet. So Bunnies has the DRS. He's 5 tenths away. They're both lacking ERS as we make our way now on this straight then with no ERS for either of them. Bunnies is not close enough to make a move. He was more closer at turn number 8 than he was now. And now Bunnies then coming out the final 2 corners. Sofian will come across the line to win the Canadian Grand Prix ahead of Bunnies. But it's all down to penalties now to see who jumps up or goes down. Punishman finishing P3 with Ross in P4. Ross does not get a podium, so Bunnies actually gets a podium. And that pace at the end.
Martin 1-2.
That pace at the end from Bunnies was astonishing. That was much needed for Bunnies to stay in the podium there in P3. And he's done exactly just that as well. So great job from Bunnies at the end to try and get that gap and have that pace towards the end to make sure he stayed on the podium. And he's just done exactly that. I thought he would tumble down the order with the amount of penalties he had. So what a great drive. And as you said, it's an Aston Martin 1-2. And that's a whole bunch of points to take away from there.
As soon as I leave Aston Martin, they get 1-2. It's unbelievable. But it's a really impressive drive from Sofian with all the drama that went on, still to keep composure and win by almost 10 seconds. Obviously Bunnies was there, but Bunnies didn't have the consistency in his laps to be able to prevent the penalties that he got. I think one of them was a 5-second for speeding in the pit lane, but regardless, it's still keeping that composure, and impressively Sofian comes and wins this race from. But it does also show that your qualifying position does not define your race. With multiple people gaining and losing 10+ positions in this race, that just shows that it doesn't. It's not the end of the world if you have a bad qualifying session.
Yeah, proving to be here at Canada with so many safety cars. You don't know what tyres to go on, you don't know when to pit or what to pit onto, and it definitely costs a lot of people. Then, as you can see there, 2 or 3 stops, and it'll be a not 1 stop normally. Some people did do a 1 stop. Bunnies he's got the Canadian flag, so if this is his home race, then he's done a great job displaying it in P3 there. And yeah, 1 stop. Craig did a 1 stop, Ross did a 1 stop, and so did Bunnies then. So some people did 1 stops there. Maybe staying out until the last safety car was probably the way to go, but obviously you can't predict when the safety car comes out. You just know there's going to be some, but you don't know when they'll come out, and that definitely cost a lot of people in this race then. So we're going to invite everybody to the party, and let's have a chat about the race. A lot happened in this race, so I've got to refresh my memory and try and figure out what happened there, with a lot of different strategy calls in play as well. So yeah, there's a lot to take in that race, but it was a fascinating race overall. Plenty of different strategies in this race as well. Lots of variables and opportunities and mistakes, obviously. 3 safety cars and a few virtuals as well, to a good measure. We had the same safety cars, I think, in China as well, so those two proved to be difficult of a track there. Some people had a lot of misfortunes in that race, but we're just waiting for one more driver, Polishman. Then we can get the podiums going. I'll have a look at the Discord server to check if he wants a podium interview or not, because I know some people don't want to, which is fine. He's just currently arguing with somebody right now in the Discord server, so once he finishes that, we'll get him in the podium.
I'll ask him.
Definitely an interesting race to say the least as well.
Yeah, 100%. There was just so much drama and so many incidents, safety cars. It just had it all. It really did.
King Panda was the leader for like, well, almost halfway through. But
Solid proportion.
yeah, apologies about that. Someone walked in, and we'll get the podiums going then. So take you all here. Polish Chugs, we'll start with you, mate. Sorry, Bunnies, we'll start with you. It's been a long night, mate. Trust me. Are you here?
Yeah.
Well, Bunnies, you had a very interesting race. I believe you started outside the top 10, and that one-stop strategy really worked out in the end. Only having one set of tyres throughout the whole race. Once the safety cars came out, was that basically just the plan to just stay out when the safety cars come out and see what happens towards the end?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I know League Racing gets a lot of safety cars, and this is a decently difficult track, so I figured there'd be a few. So just sort of waited for a safety car, and several came, and I eventually made my pick on which one to pit under.
That was a great choice as well, because I think the time you pitted on that third safety car, I believe that was the last safety car, you started on the hard compound tyres as well. You took them, obviously you want to take them quite a long stint because that's what the hards are for. And once it came on lap 20, because when the hards start to run out towards the, well, lap point of view as well, lap 18 to 20, and that's obviously the pit window to pit onto medium, so that was a great time for you to pit.
Yeah, it was really perfect. I'm glad I chose to pit then.
How did you find the race overall? Because what was going through your head when all the safety cars came out? Did you think to yourself, "Oh, should I pit now?" And was it really difficult to make decisions, or did you know that you had to just stick it out with the hards?
It was pretty stressful, honestly, trying to figure out. There was a lot of, do I pit, do I stay out? And I chose to stay out the first few times because it was a bit too early, and the last one, at that point, I was thinking maybe I'll extend to try and do a soft stint at the end, and then it came out at about the perfect time to just pit onto the medium, so I thought I'll take advantage of that and pit now.
Under the second safety car, when majority of drivers were in the pit lane, did you expect to tumble down the order with guys being on newer tyres?
I was pretty scared they'd be flying past me. I wondered if I'd made the right decision at that point, honestly, and then I think I did in the end. So wasn't really sure they could make the full distance of the race on mediums from there. But yeah. I
Was
was
it
pretty concerned they'd be flying past me, though.
with the 11 seconds of penalties? I bet you thought there was no way you're going to get a podium, but it turns out you had great pace in the race because I think you were like 2.5 seconds away from the lead a few laps before the end because you had that fight with Bazza who had front wing damage. So you clawed your way back. Did you think your overall race pace was amazing? Because obviously it proved to be in the end.
Man, you have no idea how proud I am of how I drove, except getting all those penalties. That's the one bit I'm not proud of. But the rest I'm very proud of, because, I mean, especially at my home race, driving like that was really good, I thought. Catching up to the leader in those few laps like that. I think being able to pull out the gap I needed was not super expected. I knew I had a shot, but I also knew it was going to be really difficult. So it was a really stressful ending.
Yeah, because there was a clean race all the way from like the third safety car to the end. You had about 13 laps to pull out a gap as well because it did help a bit, obviously, with the guys. All the guys pick up penalties as well, but not as much as you did. I think there was a few with a 3 second and a 6 seconds as well. So ever since like lap 22 to 35, you just pulled out a big gap over the rest of them, and ultimately you got a podium. So you should be proud of that because that was a mega drive to get a podium, especially with 11 seconds, which you need to work on. But this is your first race this season, isn't it?
I believe so, yeah.
Your first race on the podium as well, so congratulations, mate. You did a fantastic job, and it must have been a very stressful race, like you said, like deciding when to pit, because obviously, if you'd pitted on the second safety car, that would definitely put you at a disadvantage. But three safety cars came out, and you made the right call in the end. So great job on the pace as well. Not with the penalties, but still, you worked up for that and still claimed P3.
Thank you.
You got any questions for him, George?
No, you pretty much summed it up, mate. Well, congrats on the podium, bunnies. A really good drive.
Thank you.
We'll move on to Polishman then. So, Polishman, are you there? Hopefully, this podium will stick with you this time, unlike in Qatar. But what a roller coaster race as well. Because on the first lap, you had end plate damage. What happened there, mate? Did you just simply outbrake yourself? Yeah. And sorry, you continue. Did you on the second safety car? You went back on the original tyres you started on, didn't you? And you took them all the way to the end as well. So with the third safety car with people put as well, I think it boosted you up the order as well, didn't it? Yeah, you had a great race as well because you were fighting with Fandango, then you just clawed your way up through the field, making overtake after overtake. I think, like I said, a few people crashed out, such as Mazzles as well, and a few people getting into bother as well. But Leon also crashed out late stages, so you gained a few positions out there, and ultimately you got a podium. But it must have been a roller coaster journey for you because you find yourself at the back of the field at the first lap, then all of a sudden, loads of safety cars come out, people ahead of you making contact, and ultimately you got a podium in P2, and Aston Martin as well, 1-2, so it must be a great feeling for you two. You pulled the gap over Ross too when you were overtaking him on the track, so that was great from you as well. It's great pace, and that was a shame because I would love to see you in there to the battle. You've got great pace, mate. It's just the consistency you just need to work on, like last season as well. But it's nice to see you on the podium because you definitely deserve it. Hopefully, it sticks on like Qatar. But what was the most difficult part of the race? Do you think? Yeah, explain to me because I had a lot of had a lot to watch in that race. I kept flicking through different drivers, but I do believe there was one moment down at the final two corners where Ross went a bit wide at the corner. Was it because he was defending for Fandango, and therefore you were able to take advantage of those two? I bet you thought there was no chance for podium, didn't you, after that first lap? But the most important part with all those safety cars was just to be in it to win it, because lots of people had different chances of winning or losing the race or getting podiums as well. So that was the main thing. I bet it's so easy just to give up, especially with the full wheel damage, being in a high position in qualifying. But you stayed in the race as well. And what point in the race did you think that the podium was on the cards? Yeah, what a great drive from you, Christian. It's nice to see you on the podium for the first time this season, and hopefully we can get some more from you, because you have great pace, especially Qatar as well, and the races you've been in. And nice to see you back as well after taking a bit of a break. But yeah, good job, mate. Any questions for him, Kalen? Sorry,
Well,
George.
all right then. Yeah. When obviously there being so many safety cars, did you feel pressure to pit or not to pit? Like, was it? What were you thinking, like, with your decision making? Did you feel like as it was happening, do you think you'd got it right, or were you like questioning yourself? Well, you clearly got it right. So, well done. Congrats on the podium.
Yeah, huge budget points there for Aston Martin. As we move on to our race leader then. So, Sophia, mate, congratulations on your first win of the season. How does it feel?
Thank you. It feels great. It feels great. It was a bit of a hectic race, but happy to get out of it with the win, first win of the season. So it's nice.
And also, you finished in third place in China as well and got a podium, I think, back in Austria when it was wet as well. So, what happened down at the second safety car with King Panda? Did he change his front wing? Because he was in first in that train, but he fell down to third or fourth in that train. So, what happened to him?
Yeah, I really don't know. I don't know if he had a problem in the pit, like he had a slow stop, or he changed his wing. I really don't know. I was very surprised that I came out in front. No, really, I couldn't tell you. I don't know what happened with it.
Starts on the soft compound tyres as well. You made a few places. You got up into second place, but you were fighting with Bazza throughout the whole of it. So you must have been relieved when that safety car around about lap 9 and 10 came out, because you were able to get off the soft compound tyres, which would have reached their limit anyway, and put you onto a brand new set of mediums, because you were on the same strategy essentially with the other guys who pitted.
Yeah, that was my plan because I knew that I thought that there were going to be quite a few safety cars, so I wanted to be very aggressive at the start with the softs and go medium. So really, that was my strategy from the start, and I got lucky with the safety car. It worked perfectly for me.
Yeah, because in let's say in with no safety cars, strategies like mediums to hards or hards to mediums. So that was really crucial to stay that fight on the soft compound tyres. And with that safety car coming at the right time, it really helped you to stay in that fight too with the medium compound tyres and not lose a lot of time as well, do that two stop. But yeah, with the safety cars, it really helped as well. But what happened between you and Bazza? Because you made contact and Bazza lost his front wing. I didn't see it, but I only saw the aftermath of it.
Yeah, I think like ironically, it's a move that won me the race because I made a mistake. I broke my wing, and he was very close. He followed me and he broke his wing even more. I was able to continue with the broken wing, like it was fine. But I think he got the worst of it and he had to pit. Like we were going to fight for the win, and my mistake gave me the win basically. So
Yeah, mate, and with obviously Bunnies having penalties as well, he was no threat to you whatsoever, so you weren't under huge pressure as you would have been on the last lap because your heart would have been racing if Bunnies didn't pick up the penalties.
Yeah, I was just managing it really. I didn't want him to fight me really because you know you never know what can happen. But I know I had a broken wing. My tires were not feeling good, so I was just managing it and trying not to get penalties also. Just clean finish to the racing line.
With that third safety car with King Panda falling down the order, I bet you thought there was a chance to win there because I think you were the leader of that trade, so you had a great position to try and fight with Bazza and Bunnies as well. So, what part of the race did you think there was going to be? You had a chance of winning?
Yeah, after that safety car, yeah, when I was in front of Baza and Panda, like I really wanted to be aggressive on the driver ahead because they were on hards and try to put cars between me and Baza. And yeah, I managed to keep a gap around 0.9 1 second. Then I made a little mistake. It came back to 0.3 seconds, and we broke our front wings together. So
Yeah, shame for both of you, but
yeah,
you came out on top of it. But you're in P4 in the championship, and you might be close or maybe overtaking King Panda as well. So with this recent run of form you had, barring Qatar, do you think you're really in this home for the championship fight? Do you think?
uh, I don't really think about the championship really because no, it's I know I will make a great comeback after this week, but I will also be missing next week. So I don't know what will happen next week, but I won't be doing the race. So I don't have the championship in my mind right now. So if I keep good results, maybe I will be a challenger. But for now, I don't think I am.
Fair enough, mate. I was about to ask you that question, how you feeling for Spade, but you said you're not here, so it doesn't
Yeah,
matter about that one. But I just want to say as well, because this track is brutal and relentless for penalties as well. So you've done a
yeah,
really great job not to pick up a penalty. Were you close to one?
yeah. I had two warnings, and
Oof.
yeah, like 10 laps from the end, I had two warnings. So it was a close one, but they had even more penalties behind me. So, but Baza was putting under great pressure because they had no penalties, so it was tough.
When you have two warnings and very close to a penalty, how does that affect you? Do you remain calm, or do you feel a bit more pressure?
I definitely feel more pressure, especially around the final chicane. And I think that's why I made the mistake because it was so close. I really wanted to get a good exit, but not getting a penalty or so, and I clicked the wall. So yeah, you feel the pressure when you have two penalties, especially around Canada.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Because once you get those two warnings, you just one mistake, you get a penalty, and that changes everything. Because if you pick up one
Yeah,
penalty, you tend to get more, don't you? Because you just don't really care, if that makes sense.
yeah. And, I think I was thinking I was afraid of a late safety car, and you know if you get a penalty and there is a late safety car, you're screwed. So I really wanted to be careful with that, but no, it was great for me. They had even more penalties behind me, so I was fine, I guess.
Yeah, true, mate. And that was all. That's what it was all about tonight. Not pick up any penalties, like in Qatar. It's so hard to do so, but if you don't do it, you find yourself like in P12, or you might find yourself catapulted up the order due to those penalties. So, congratulations, Sophia, on the win. Great pace as well to show it, and great consistency not to pick up penalty as well. George, you got any questions for Sophia?
No, nothing in particular. Just a huge congratulations on the win. It was really impressive to see you keep your calm under all like the drama going on. It was a really impressive drive.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Fine.
Congrats to the top three. Bunnies, congrats to you for picking up a podium on your debut here for Williams and at your home Grand Prix. Must feel special as well.
Thank you. It's very special.
Must have been, mate. And we'll ride it off here then. So thanks, George, for commentating with me, replacing Kaelin, and we'll see what happens next week.
Thanks very much for having me.
Yeah, no worries, it's been a pleasure. And join me back for the Canadian Grand Prix at 8 o'clock this time, not 8:30 due to the time changes for people's availability. And next week will be the Barcelona Grand Prix for Tier 4 once again at round number 7, I believe it is. So we'll see you all for Tier 4 next week, but join me for Tier 1 this week on Thursday at 8.